we begin with the question, who is it for? And if you can't tell me who it's for, then you either have to say, it's only for me and not care at all about commercial success, or you have to be able to work yourself forward to say, it's for those people, it's not for these people. And that's got to be what we do in a world where anyone can publish, therefore anyone will publish. The only way to get your fair share or more of attention is to have enrollment.
Is the first person you have to enroll yourself somehow in this vision?
Yes.
Like the Harvey Milk idea. Let me enlist you in a way. Enlist you in the journey, not tell you, but bring you along.
That's right. So you
you
enroll yourself in saying, I know where I am. I know what my thinking is like. I would like to have this kind of thinking. I would like to have this kind of position in this conversation. And so if we look at how could Star Wars possibly have made it through the valley of bad movies and then come out at the other end with $1 billion hit? Well, because through the valley, the people who were enrolled in where Star Wars was supposed to go stuck with it, right? At the beginning, you have to make the first movie in a way that gets strangers to say, yeah, you're going where I want to go.
Do you think the most common mistake, though, is aiming for where you think the critics are going to be? Or do you think the common mistake is becoming paralyzed because you're afraid of where it's going to be? Because I think it's the fear.
Here's what happens. It always begins with paralysis. And then the only way out is say, well, wait, I found the needle. Let's thread this thing because that will lead us to where we want to go.
And it always begins with paralysis for pretty much all of us, by the way.
Yeah.
Almost all of us.
That's right.
Even the people who are working every day.
Right.
Producing real content that have an audience.
Correct.
Face that paralysis.
So if you look at how many Facebook shares you got, if you look at how many Twitter followers you have just enrolled in exactly the wrong dialogue with yourself. What I stopped doing a few years ago, I don't read my Amazon reviews. I don't look at my Google Analytics. I have no idea whether my subscriber base is going up or down. I don't know what the buzz is about something I did on Facebook because none of those things helped me do better work. If you are a creator and you have followers who are enrolled in where you are going, the critics do not matter at all. And that goal of finding enrollment, you succeed at that by making a different kind of work than chasing what the critics are into right now.
He made the sort of defining record of this year, I think, at 23, and will proudly say that he sort of calculated and planned every part of it. Mm-hmm. He's not saying there was a sense of abandon.
Sure.
He sat down. He when he gets an idea, he really thinks about the idea. He really thinks about what he wants to say, why he wants to say it, and the best delivery system for that. And I said, who's your audience? And he said, it's really someone a lot like me. Your answer.
Yeah.
I'm really someone and he said, someone who's studied art, someone who understands various forms of art, why people make art, the history of this stuff, the history of this kind of record.
That's right.
All that stuff so that's who I am. So I'm going to make the ultimate record I wish I could have. And I said, how did you know if you were crazy? And he's like, well, you never know. But
to be a professional at 23 like that, good for him.
The work feels like the work of a master, and he's young. And so I was really interested in there's this fine line. So he's completely not self-indulgent artist. He's the opposite of a self-indulgent artist, even though he said his audience is him, right? So I know you've thought about this a lot.
Yeah.
So can you tease that out for me?
So here's the marketing conundrum when it meets creativity. Let's say you want your creativity to actually find a market. The wrong question is, what is this a copy of? The right question is, what does this remind you of? Will learn to listen, right? So he understands why a Stevie Wonder song works. He
100%.
understands why a rap song works. And by learning to listen, he can bring his own creative thing. Now, if you don't need commercial success, you can throw all this out the window and maybe you'll get lucky and get it. You need to learn to see before you can learn to be a creative player in it. Because everything that has a clear path to commercial success is in a genre. Not generic, but in a genre. There are tropes and conventions and rules of the genre. The genre is called the genre because there are people enrolled in where that genre goes. So you can push the edges in a few directions, but if you just write something that's completely out of all of it, your path to commercial success is limited. what I did was I went to a bookstore every Sunday for 10 years, every single Sunday, to the business section. I knew every single book in that section. When a new book showed up, I noticed it. And if it was anything in my area, I read it either on the spot or I bought it. And I figured out what was going on. And that's why the first year I was in book publishing, I got 850 rejections in a row because I didn't know where the double yellow line was. And the books I wanted to sell, How to Hypnotize Your Friends and Act Like Chickens, it's a book I would have bought, but it wasn't a book an editor would be proud to acquire. It wasn't a book a bookstore would be proud to sell. And because I needed to work my way through a system to have commercial success, I got to know, right? But once I learned the voice, then I could put my own voice on it without calculating, but knowing I was on a platform with a microphone that was functioning.